What up? It's your girl Tania, aka the Cool Auntie, and this is the Cool Auntie podcast. Hey, girl.
Hey,
Period. 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 Listen, okay. The way you look at sis, I'm the cool auntie. You the fine auntie. Period.
Yeah. Even though my hair look crazy right now, period.
Listen, sis. You got edges. Some of us out here are struggling just to keep the little bit of edges we got. You got edges. You are winning. Oh my God.
But we so cute.
No, I love it. The people have to know how hard and how committed we were to make this thing happen, man. For weeks, y'all, we've been trying to find the time and the space. The devil was working, but
emails and text messages and telegrams.
Okay, traveling, sis. Okay, sending her. Okay. Telepathy.
Another country. I'll hit her up. She's in another country. She hits me back up. I'm in another country.
You know, we're just raggedy, but we made it happen, man.
It's not raggedy. It's a good issue to have.
Absolutely.
We're out enjoying the world. The streets is open again. You know, we getting out there. So, yeah.
Period. For sure, man. Like, I don't think the people know. Like me, we not new friends. This is not a new thing right here. This is a before the pandemic. Like we've been in this thing for a minute, man. And it's crazy. I was just thinking when we were prepping for this episode, I'm like, yo, the conversations that we were having, 1-2 years ago, it's crazy how many things have manifested and just how baby, outside of just this brand, I have gotten to watch you not only as a friend, but as a fan. And baby, sis, you glowing, you winning, and we are proud of you.
I received this energy. I received this.
Yes.
You see, look, immediately I wanted to be like, stop, no. I'm like, you know what? Something I've been trying to teach myself to just learn how to accept compliments, because again, it's like these little blessings, these little wins that God be giving you. And it's like, who am I to be try to block any of that, to block any of that energy? So, you know what? I received this.
Absolutely. And you know what? You store it, and you store it for the days when you're not feeling fully into it and you need to rely on those to build you up. Absolutely. For sure. And so, you know what? So everybody else can stand with me because they probably have no idea why we're standing. I want them to get to know you so they understand why the hell I'm celebrating. Because sis, they don't know about your story, this journey of getting here. Oh man, I can't wait. So I guess the question is, who is Delilah D, man?
Delilah D was born in May 17, 19.
Period. Give me a little
city called Philadelphia, aka the city of Philly.
Gang.
No, all jokes aside, my name is Delilah. I am a content experience curator. I am the founder of Shift World. I am just a lover of life. A lot of people call me the manifestation queen because I just love to speak manifestations, bring to life. To share them with other people, but I wear a lot of hats. I do a lot of things, and essentially everything that I do, everything that I align myself with, everything is just one purpose only, which is just trying to break generational curses, trying to teach not just to me, but try to teach my community how to break generational curses. So and I do that with everything, with the events that I put on, the merchandise I push out, the content I create, the clients I pick up, because aside from being the founder of Shift World, I also do freelance work for other brands and companies. And yeah, everything is just we're all here. We're all here moving and grooving together and trying to bring about change to the world. So if it has some type of social impact involved with it, I'm here with it.
Period. Because one thing you didn't mention though is that you are big in the influencing game, man. When I tell y'all, I follow Delilah. Just through your stories alone, if I never knew you, I would feel like I did, because you just have this unwavering, this genuine connection with your community, like it's real for you. Like you're real
a lot
online.
Of my online a lot of my online community are just like, they will always ask me like, you know, you my female. I know we haven't met in person yet, but you're my best friend.
Like,
I'm like, girl, like, okay, that's what you need from me. Like, it's cool.
Like you give that I'm your best friend vibe, like through and through. And so like I've gotten to watch your journey, your followers and your friends online have gotten to watch your journey. Again, I think back to that conversation and where we both were in just different places. And I appreciate you. I know you asked like a couple weeks ago, I was like, she shouted me out, my baby, because like they don't get that. Like we talk about what it means to be an overnight success, but like it takes years. They say it takes years to build. Maybe less now with social media, but it takes time. So people have no idea. Like some of the things that they're seeing from Shift World, the Cool Auntie, were things that we were talking about and dreaming about 2 years ago that are just kind of really starting to gain traction and to people to see. So kind of talk to me about what your role has been and just like as far as just becoming Delilah, right? Because you've been very transparent about your own personal growth journey too, but how that's kind of played into your purpose and just how you show up.
The thing is with me, I've always it's always important for me to show up authentically as myself 100%. I think that's the reason why I've been able to kind of build like a solid foundation with my community, is because they know like I'm not here I don't give you any bullshit. I don't sell like glitz and glamour. Like I don't sugarcoat anything. Like I'm gonna share my wins with you all. But I'm also going to share like my moments of distress. I'm also going to share like my moments when I feel like I don't have anything together. I'm also going to share the moments when I feel like everything, like these curveballs are just hitting me back to back. Because the thing is with me, like I just feel like it's so important, especially with the fact that like the platform that I have, like, you know, it's right. And especially where I come from, like, you know, I'm from Philadelphia. Like, you know, I'm a child of an immigrant, like, you know, being a Latina, being the first gen, you know, being the first granddaughter, the first niece. Like, there's a lot on my there's a lot of weight on my shoulders any way that I carried on like the first entrepreneur in my family. So there's a lot of firsts with me. So the thing is like with me, I just feel like it's so important for me to be transparent about my journey, to especially share those moments that are low, like those low moments, because I need people like my community who come from the same similar backgrounds as me, like, but there's the same where it's a little bit worse, but letting them know like, yo, like regardless of whatever curveballs are being thrown my way, like I'm still at it. Like I'm still going to continue. You may see me cry for a second or two. I wasn't sure if I was frozen. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're good.
You may see me cry for a second or two, but like I'm gonna pick my chin up. I'm gonna, be in that moment for a second. That I'm gonna, the chin's up, and then the feet's going, and we gotta keep it moving. Like, and the thing like with me, I don't take where I'm at in life for granted at all, because there's so many times I could have given up. Because when I tell you, like, I've experienced the lowest of the lows, like, I've experienced, like, I know you said, like you mentioned earlier, like, this isn't anything, like, people are seeing my wins now, but, like, yo, like, I've been doing this for, like, decades. Like, this is literally something, like, prior before it was Shift World, I have recently, actually, it was at the end of 2019 that I just rebranded. My company used to be the last company before, but it wasn't until my 6th year of my company that I saw my first return of investment. Like my company was completely self-funded from the start. I knew nothing about finances. I knew nothing about capital. I knew nothing about how, like, just kind of what, how to get angel investors or I knew nothing. I just knew I wanted to start a company. I wanted to start a brand. And then, I just figured it out from there. So that's why, like, it's especially important for me now. Like, I love sharing, like, when I have, like, a moment, like, a huge milestone that I celebrate, I make sure that I also follow up, like, hey, yes, this is something great that, like, I'm celebrating right now. However, I need you to understand, like, I went through this to get through here. Like, this is where I screwed up at to get through here. Like, these are my fuck-ups and these are my lessons. Like, for me to get this moment, for me to achieve this milestone, like, this is not something that was just handed to me.
The thing that I admire most about you, and you actually changed my perception as I'm working on building my own following online of, I think a common misperception is that people only want to see the best of you, right? Because that's what social media gives you the impression of, put your best self online. But the brands that thrive the most, at least the ones that I see, are the ones where they got the same white, dirty background, the same bonnet, sis, okay? putting, you know, all kinds of things in their hair, in their noses, they eating. It's like they want the real, authentic, unedited you, and you talk about that a lot. I guess, and then that isn't a thing that's really taught in our cultures. Like, so I am fully Black, but I do have a Spanish degree, so I love Latin culture, like love it. And so in our we're taught to just stick with what we know, and when we keep quiet and we keep things to ourselves, like that's family business, that's personal business you don't share. So I guess where did this idea of authenticity and just you really stepping into who you are, where did that come from?
It's so interesting you say that too, because when you think about it, if you want to get into the depth of it, that's really a trauma response. Like, especially within the Black and brown communities, like we feel like we have to have this type of persona. We feel like we have to be perfect because it's only like what may deem acceptable in society to be someone that's, you know, that's on top of the game, that's winning, that's, you know, being a success story, especially when we come from nothing. And we want to make sure that, like, you know, we put out this image that, like, everything is perfect. I'm like, no, it's really not. So, I mean, again, there's no shade or nothing against those people who have the clean-cut image and want to have their social media like that. That's totally okay. Like, you know, it may not work for everyone. But, you know, because some people just aren't okay with being vulnerable, and that's totally fine. Like, do whatever you feel is best for your social media. But, like, I know for me personally, I just like being myself. And the thing is, like, with me, like, I feel, because even when I started my brand initially, the whole concept behind Delilah & Company was I wanted to share, like, the struggles. I wanted to share those stories, like, when people felt like, you know, when nothing was going their way, and, you know, when it was just like roadblock, curveball, everything thrown away, like, what was it that kept them pushing forward? What was it that, like, what was their motivation? What was their North Star? So the thing is with me, like, I'm like, you know, I started, like, you know, developing that whole mindset too. So, yo, like, I just want to share who I am 100%. Like, I don't, this whole just like having just a highlight reel on social media, like, oh yeah, look at me, that I accomplished this, oh, I accomplished that. Like, that's cool and all, but, like, what did I do for my community? Okay, that may inspire them to want to, like, you know, do their stuff. However, I feel like, you know, it's, you make it, like, more intimate. Again, it may not be for everyone. That's totally okay. But with me, I know I've been able to build a trust with my community because I've been able to, like, authentically share my voice and authentically share myself when I'm going through my lows, when I'm going, like, any of my fuck ups or anything that's happening. And I make sure that it's just, like, you know, I'm sharing this with you because I want to make sure that you don't screw up the way that I did. And then, like,
yeah, because there's so much power in your story, right? Like, I was telling somebody, like, I low-key felt like, and I appreciate you for being a part of that journey, but it's like going to a masquerade, but you got one of those masks on a stick. Like, not being, like, people don't realize it takes twice as much energy to not be yourself than it is to be yourself. And so I to the point where I was tired of pretending. I was like, you know how you get tired of holding something? I was tired of holding this mask up. You know, it's like, you know what? F it. And because you brought up a good point about how being yourself, it draws your community. Whether, sometimes I know you're speaking in an influencer sense, but even like community as far as your relationships. People can't fall in love with you if they aren't seeing you. People can't learn from you if they aren't seeing you. And it's crazy. It took me so long. But when I finally got it, it was like, woo, sis, where you been? Like, yes. But like, to your point, I think when in a space when everyone wants to be an influencer, that's what it means to influence. How are people learning from you? And if you are only sharing certain parts of the journey, you're limiting what they learn. And so I guess, in speaking of that, what do you feel like the biggest takeaway is for people to really see vulnerability? Why is it so important for us to show vulnerability?
For people to, like, learn, like you said, like, to learn from you. And I just feel like, you know, moments of growth, if you share that, like, the thing is, like, with me, no one wants to be considered a failure. No one wants to share those moments because, like, you just, like, you want to, you know, experience those lows on your own. But, like, with me, and the thing is, I had to change my mindset about this. And that's why, like, I love sharing, like, moments where I screwed up or moments that I failed, only because I'm just like, yo, like, do you understand, like, once I get to the other side of this, like, how much more on top I'm going to feel? Do you understand how much more wisdom I'm going to have? Do you understand, like, that beautiful feeling you get from when you fail that something, whether it was one time, whether it's multiple times, and you finally like experience that win. So it's just like, I love sharing those moments of failure with my community because they get to be a part of the journey. They get to see like, yo, like, she was not doing so good a week ago, or this was her setback, or this try to hold her back, whatever. Look at her. She still did it. Like, she's still on top. So like, again, that same attitude, she was able to do that. You know, so imagine what I can do, like, again, just speak for my community, like, what can I do? Like, I know now moving forward, like, if I have something that's thrown my way, if I have, you know, curveballs with this, you know, this hitting me right now, like, she was able to do it, like, I can do that too, type of thing. Like, so with me, influence, like, it's so much power and influence. And it's more than just selling skinny teas or teeth whiteners or whatever. Like, no, like, I'm really trying to influence people to win. I'm really trying to influence people to change their mindset. I'm really trying to influence people to understand, again, it does not matter where you start off in life. It does not matter what setbacks you're born with. Like, you and only you have complete control to, you know, how to turn your life around. You and only you have complete control whether you're going to win or not. Absolutely. So it's just like, are you going to change your storyline? Are you going to change your legacy? It's what's going to start from you. Like, you know, what are your descendants going to speak of you as your ancestor? Because we're all going to be ancestors. We talk like that. We see posts and quotes, whatever, about honoring our ancestors, doing all this. We're going to be ancestors, you know, in the future. So what is it that our future generation, our future descendants are going to speak about us? What are you changing? What generational curses are going to stop with you? What generation of love is going to start with you? So Absolutely. It's just like, you know, like, you know, I'm very important, like, especially just like adamant, just, you know, making sure that I'm sharing my journey, because I want you to see when I'm going through this low. I want you to see, okay, I'm going through this right now, but it's only temporary.
Absolutely. Because even to that point, like, I know I work a lot with college students, so like in a way, I guess they're coddled, but we try to say like, there's no such thing as failure when you're learning. Because to your point, like, every experience, that's literally all it is. You're learning it until you get it right. Every Amazon wasn't Amazon overnight. Amazon came from a million mistakes that taught Jeff every single step. You know, like there's glory. Like, to your point, there's beauty. I love how you use the word beauty. Because like that was our first series was Broken Crayons Still Color. Like, you can still create a masterpiece because there is beauty in it. And so I want to kind of go back, because 2020 wasn't just a pandemic for you. You literally had, it was like life, you put your life in a jar and you just shook it up. That's legit. For me watching, that was your life. Like, 2020 for Delilah was throwing all this shit in a jar and just shaking it up and seeing what I get. Like, okay, you were a soda bottle.
My friends was like, Delilah, you will be the one to turn a pandemic into a bandemic for you.
Period. Yes. But I want people to know that, especially because you brought it up of like this. I think we expect to win all the time, but even winners take losses, but sometimes losses can set you up for whether it be a lesson or like even better success. And you're somebody who I've seen this past year, you've taken quite a few L's, but your bounce back game was strong, sis. Okay, you flipped them, turned it, you smacked it, flipped it, rubbed it downstairs. Okay, it was. I love it. So can you talk more about just like, I know with how you started with iHeartRadio, kind of how you got to where you are now?
So talking about my Mr. Elliott flipping and reversing, but sorry, it's Auntie's podcast.
Period. Okay, they know.
No, so before the pandemic, I was a director of promotions for iHeartRadio. And, you know, running my company, I was working with events and with brand stuff, you know, producing events on the side. I was just, you know, navigating a whole bunch of stuff is what I do. But during the pandemic, unfortunately, you know, I was furloughed from my job, which originally was supposed to be a 90-day furlough period. But then, you know, because at the time, March, no one really knew what was going on. Everyone thought, you know, once upon a time, this pandemic was supposed to last like maybe 3 or 4 weeks at the most. But, you know, yeah. Anyway.
Right.
So my furlough was initially for 90 days, because the thing is, like, with me, like, with my position, you know, I handled the promotions. We did, you know, I was in charge of all the events promotions, the marketing, and all that fun stuff. But, like, you know, with the world being closed, there's no concerts, there's no outdoor events, there's no, like, you know, any of that. So it's just like, you know, basically, like, what was I being paid for? Before the end of my first 30-day furloughment period, I received an email saying that my furloughment was extended an additional 90 days. So, you know, whatever extended, but throughout that time period, while I was on unemployment, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to utilize this time to try, like, I had just relaunched my brand. So we officially, like, I made the announcement on social media the top of 2020. And then in April was when I relaunched the official website. And then from there, I started building out the e-commerce platform. So I've always had an e-commerce platform, but I never really paid too much mind to it. I had like 4 or 5 shirts maybe at the most. And then like, I just knew I wanted to have like shirts that had like inspirational quotes, just like quotes for the culture. So during the pandemic, obviously I had much more time. So then like I started building out the inventory and just like really working on adding more pieces. And then now like, you know, we have way more compared to like what we had. So the e-commerce platform, just like it just kind of took off. Like, you know, I had posted about it because the thing is like, the way my community continues to show up for me, I do not take for granted at all. So everyone knew me as the eventer. I was always doing events. I was always producing events. Everyone was coming out, always showing love. But the thing is like, you know, because of COVID, just like anyone who's kind of in the entertainment industry or just kind of do anything as events related, like all your sources of income were put on pause. So it's like, you know, I'm on unemployment. I lost my hosting gigs. I'm not, you know, lost my additional income from producing events. Like I lost like all, you know, just kind of sponsorship stuff that I was doing. So I'm just like, what's another way I can get another source of income besides my unemployment? So doing the e-commerce, I was like, let me just dabble into this. And then like, I remember, I think I shared a post about like, you know, the fact that like, yo, like it was just so crazy because right before the pandemic, I was finally at a good place in my life financially. Like, you know, I spent years broke. Right. I spent years like, you know, just like with horrible credit and just like literally like living check to check. And then because again, like all my money went towards, you know, just kind of investing into my brand, like, you know, investing into myself, just like experiencing. But like me wanting to like, cause yeah, I want to travel and stuff, but me traveling, like I'm spending, you know, money on my trip, but I don't have any money when I come back. So it's just like, but like, you know, I wanted to live my life. So it's just basically, I was in so much debt for so long. And I'm like, yo, I'm finally in a good place in my life. Like cash flow.
Ain't that how it always happens? As soon as you think you're doing well, life just be like, maga.
Yeah, because I had like, you know, money coming in from speaking gigs, from hosting gigs, from brand sponsorship, from events, like everywhere, like my full-time salary. And then it's like, and then all of a sudden, just unemployment. So it's just like, you know, I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, you know, I got into like this period of just like, I felt like I was spiraling again because I'm like, yo, I spent so long trying to get my life together. I was finally at a good place in my life and all that just got taken away. But then on top of that, I always felt like I felt weird to be complaining about this because like one, I had a roof over my head. Again, I had unemployment. Right. So I still had money in where, you know, there's other people like going through the pandemic who don't, you know, have like their homes taken away, who don't have any source of income coming in at all, who don't have any of that. So I was just like, you know, like, so I just always felt weird about complaining about it because I knew I still had it so much better compared to like so many other people. But still, I was just like, yo, like, I was just finally in a good place. And now I'm about to like, you know, start right back at square one. So, yeah, so I had talked about that on my social media and I was like, yo, y'all knew me. I was very intentional about creating spaces for my community. I always wanted us to thrive together, you know, like still like, you know, still bringing that community feel. And then like also like realistically speaking, bringing another source of income. So then like, you know, and I talked about like, you know, they saw like I'm posting and like, look, I'm going to build out my e-commerce platform. I'm going to like post more inventory. I'm going to do this, do that. You know, I started, you know, my jewelry line and all that stuff.
They watched the journey.
They watched the journey. They saw, you know, I shared like when I was going, like even trying to come up like my resilient necklace, how I screwed up, you know, because I didn't like the first samples. And again, like my money was very tight at the time. So it's just like, damn, like I'm over here investing these samples. I didn't like any bombs. So then I had to get more. And then, you know, so I find like good quality stuff because again, like anything I put my name on, I want to make sure like, yo, you're excited about my stuff. Like my stuff lasts. Like I want to make sure I didn't get into the tarnish. Like all my stuff is good quality.
I love that.
So it was on that journey with me, but like how I talked about like, yo, like, you know, this is all I can offer right now until like, you know, the world opens back up. And when I tell you like my community showed out, like there was like, you know what, we're going to support you whatever way you can because you're always there supporting other people. You're always there. Like when I tell you like everyone, just like when I started posting stuff about my merch, everyone will start reposting, will start tagging, will be like, buy this, buy that. And it's just like, yo, they roll for me so hard. And like, yo, when I tell you that like the month that I saw half of my salary come in from sales in just 1 month, I was really like,
look,
oh my fucking God.
Look, sis,
yes,
I'm a die and come back. I'm a die and come back. Hold on. God is good, ain't he?
That's what my year's salary come. And now I'm like looking at these numbers. Like I like showed my mom. Remember, I'm like, look at what this says. Like, look at how much I made last week in sales. Like, look at, and it's just like, you know, it was just like, yo, like, so like what I'm seeing this, like, so I can actually like do this. Like, this is crazy. So it's just.
But my thing is, okay, so that was so much. I love that. But I think I want to come back a little bit because I want to hit on two things, right? Because I just, first of all, you can't see me. I wish we were, because we're probably even funnier in person, y'all. I'd probably be slapping her and everything. Okay, listen, but I have goosebumps. I literally have goosebumps, y'all. Okay, I am a little hairy. Don't judge me, but I literally have goosebumps. Because I think, especially in this season, people are thinking so much about purpose and about like just like their own personal journeys. And you hit on two things. I think first, I love how you took your story and you put it into your brand. You mentioned the necklace being resilient and what that means to you. And that came from you pulling from.
And the other necklace is wealth builder. Like we're building wealth over here. We're building, you know, mental wealth, financial wealth, you know, all types of wealth.
Right. But I think it's so great because I think people don't realize that your journey, even the setbacks, are all a part of your purpose, right? Purpose, people think purpose is the thing that you create. It's like, no, you discover it. Because even to your point, things had to happen for you to get to where you are. Because do you honestly feel like you would have gotten to where you were had you had the same opportunities still available to you at the end of the pandemic?
No. Well, you know what's crazy too? Like I have such a good relationship with my iHeart family, like still to this day. And even like, you know, so aside from that, like I do consult too, like for different brands and companies. So aside from the stuff that I do for Shift World, so they'll book me to like either produce like the virtual events or people with social media. And one of my big clients that I got was from my former, was a referral from my former boss at iHeart. So it's just like, she knew that like I would be, so I'm still, and that's what like, you know, relationship building is so important to me. And it's just like, even though like if a chapter may close with people for whatever reason, always make sure you always leave off in good standing. So like with my family over at iHeart, granted I'm no longer with them, but what's crazy is that even when I got furloughed and everything, like they all reached out to me. They was just like, yo, you know, like you're probably gonna be like, once everything gets back to normal, you're gonna be one of the first people that we're trying to bring back, you know. And even with my boss, we met up, I want to say like 2-3 months ago to catch up. We went for lunch and she was just like, you know, when the opportunity presents itself, do you want us to bring you back in? She's like, because I want to bring you back in. And I was just like, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay, y'all want to know why? Because sis got options. Sis said,
we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But she was like, well, even still, you know, we don't bring you in. She's like, I would love, like, it would be so cool. We get to partner up with Shift World and, you know, do something together, do an event together. So I was
so
just like,
dope.
You know, I'm here for that 100%. So, you know, God willing, knock on wood. I mean, I'm okay now. I'm okay. But again, I also know.
Again, right, only a setup for another win that you weren't even thinking about.
Exactly. So as of right now, and it's so funny, I remember when my unemployment was ending, my mom was already like getting on me. She was just like, are you going to start applying for another job? Are you going to start, like, what are you going to do for money? And I was just like, I'm gonna let go and let God. Like, you know, right. I'm like, we'll see what's going to happen. And I don't know, like, I've been okay so far. Like, I'm definitely in a good place. And, I'm being smarter by my decisions. Obviously, like, I have so many incredible people in my life, like everyone from like financial consultants, just like people that's helping me understand like, the business, economics of things, and just like, especially when it comes to my brand. And, so I've just been making smarter, like, money decisions, especially when it comes to investments and everything too. So like, but now I'm just like, yo, like, as of right now, again, knock on wood. I mean, if whatever reason I had to go into employment again, work for someone else, it's going to be for someone that I want to, obviously. But like, I love that I have freedom now. Like, I have mobility now. Like, I literally get to work from wherever I want. Like, I get to like, work out my laptop. So it's just like, and again, what's crazy is that all my clients I've been getting, it's all referrals. I have not had to pitch anyone. I have not had to like, put myself out there. I've literally been getting projects every single month. And I'm just like, yo, like, and I get emotional every time. And I'm just like, yo, like, this is crazy. Like, this is like,
yes.
Again, I don't take it for lightly at all. But at the same time, I talked about this in one of my posts that I did recently, I think like last week or something, that I've been experiencing a lot of like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening moments, but then again, like I've also experienced a lot of like, why is this happening moments too? So it's just like, I have to like change that whole mindset of just like, saying like, oh my God, I can't believe like all this good stuff is happening to me. Because it's just like, basically, I'm questioning the blessings that's coming my way. It's like, it's making it seem like I'm not confident in who I am. I'm not confident in the work I can push out. I'm not confident in what I produce. So like, thinking like imposter syndrome is real. So it's just like, I'm over here just like thinking like I don't deserve like certain things. I'm like, yo, girl, you've been at this. Like, you've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
Like, okay, granted, right now, you were kind of forced into doing it like full time recently, but like this is literally what I've been building for years. Like, this is literally what I've been working at.
And not even just, and I think even taking it outside of just the business aspect, I think sometimes there's some blessings that God reserves. I think we always look at it like a punishment, but I think it's sometimes he holds them back until we become a person who can receive them and who can manage them. Right? It's like a dad who wants to give their child a car. You can't give them a car until they get a license, until they know how to drive and take care of the car. And I think to your point of, you had to become the Delilah who could manage and hold that. So not only was it the professional journey, but it was your personal journey. And I do, from watching it and being a part of it, I'm a firm believer that, again, your authenticity and your vulnerability really brought you here, right? Because God can't bring what's for you if you ain't you. And so I love, and I know we can talk about these things forever and a day. But I know, and you've talked about this before too, is that sometimes I think we see online and we hear people's stories and it sounds good, like for them. But you're like, okay, well, how do I apply this to my life? So mind you, for you, like some people are like, you know what, maybe I'm not thinking about entrepreneurship or e-commerce or starting my own business or being an influencer, but I do want to figure out, how do I make lemonade out of the lemons that I'm given? I want to learn, how to be more authentic, how to be more vulnerable so I can attract what's for me. What do first steps for those kinds of things look like? Like, what things did you do to really get to a space where you could be your authentic, vulnerable self?
So, I mean, I like that you touch on the fact that, like, maybe not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, influencer, and that's totally fine. And it's something I speak heavily about, especially my social media, because I know Instagram try to force you to like quit your 9 to 5 and become Instagram. These Instagram CEOs love that. They love to tell you that you are depressed. They love to tell you are unhappy. They love to tell you that you need, like, no, like, you need to find out what makes you happy. Because the thing is, sometimes entrepreneurship is not for everyone. And I say this over and over again, it is not for everyone. That's totally okay. However, ownership, which is a conversation we could say for another day, ownership is for everyone. So even if you're working a 9 to 5, you can still have an LLC. You can still spend certain things, and you can still, especially for tax deductibles at the end of the year. But again, it's a whole conversation for another day. The thing is, like, some people, they need structure. Some people don't do well in chaos. And with entrepreneurship, it's a lot of chaos. It's a lot of like this. It's a lot of like this.
Let me get some water. Since you said it's not for the
like, you know, there are people that like working in a corporate environment. And because we need more of us. We need more Black and brown representation in corporate. We need more Black and brown representation in these C-suite levels. We need more Black and brown representation in higher ups in education. So that I would never try to push you. I want you to find out what your purpose is, what makes you happy, and then, you know, you figure out how to elevate on that level. So circling back to your question, like, how can someone who may not be interested in being an entrepreneur and mentor relate to me? But it's just anything that you're going at after in life, anything that you're trying to do, and you're trying to elevate to become a better version of you in general. Like, the reason why I share my journey, the reason why I share my highs and my lows is because I just want to show you that you can literally do anything you set your mind to. You want to become the top fitness expert, whatever. It's gonna take determination. It's gonna take failure. It's gonna take time when you go into the gym, not understanding how to do your proper form and workouts and stuff. But man, once you get that proper form in, once you're consistent with the gym, once you see the results, it's just like it's a whole high. The same thing if you're working at a corporate job and you know you're new and you don't feel like it's a space for you because it's maybe there's not people that look like you. But it's just like, and so sometimes your imposter syndrome may kick in. Sometimes, you know, you may feel like, you know, am I going to do good in this job? But it's just like, yo, like, become the best employee there. Like, you know, put your all into, like, you know, showing your work ethic and build your way up to management position, build your way up, you know, to the VPs, to the presidents of the company.
Because
like,
everyone's journey is different. Like, what purpose looks like, we're going to all wear purpose differently. And I think I love, because you talked about it before, even with iHeartRadio, with your mom, I think, and I want to definitely hit on this before we go, but I think, and I'm even seeing it myself, of the more you step into, the first and foremost, the more you're introspective about what you want and what you need. Because like you said, we're being presented with so many options. There's so many things that you can do, right? But just because you can do it, don't mean that you're supposed to be doing it, right? Or you have things like, whether it's the Instagram algorithm or just people giving you options. We all got options, right? We got options, but it's choosing what's for you and knowing that when you do that, everyone isn't. I love how you kept saying it. Everyone isn't going to agree. Everyone isn't going to accept it. But also, like, it's going to go against sometimes what culture might say. And so I love one thing I want to also hit on before we go. Like, I know you've been very open and transparent about you went on a surgical journey recently. And I love to watch it because I'll be a quick little thing, being mindful of time. I'm a huge Nicki Minaj fan. I have always been a huge, you know, I'm from Philly too, like East Coast. Before everybody else was on Nicki Minaj, I knew Nicki Minaj when I was in elementary, middle school, okay? Like, y'all, everybody else was getting there later on. I've known Nicki since I was like 14. You know, and so you know, okay. I knew Nicki when she was wearing green leggings and pink tutus. Okay, listen, and she got so much crap about body. I've seen body shaming happening so much, and so I love. And again, I know I'm a little different in that I'm very into like natural things, but I respect people who own who they are and what they like. And so whatever beauty is for you is for you. But I have really loved and enjoyed watching you share your journey because most people do not. They hide it, people deny it, or they keep it private. Talk to me about why not only did you choose your journey as far as surgery, but also why you were so open and, again, willing to be authentic and vulnerable about that.
So the thing is with me, like, I've always, I got a BBL and I got lipo. And like with me, I've always wanted to like get my body done. And like I did talk about this in my story, like with me, I know it's a little bit more deep rooted than this was like before social media was a thing. This was before Instagram, influencers, whatever. Like this is something that I've always wanted. To be 100% transparent, this stemmed off of the toxic relationship I had with my father, who was very big on body images in general, who's very big on like, you know, women are supposed to look a certain way. So he used to always call, like he would always make me feel like crap about myself, like he'll call me fat and flat, like because I was going through a chunky phase when I was younger too. So that's like little stuff that used to like those were like, you know, they were like, you know, planted in my head. So like, you know, because of that, unfortunately, like I was already developing body issues at like age 10. So, and he will always tell me, like, you know, no guy's going to want you to be fat and flat. No guy's going to want you. You're not going to be respected, blah, blah, blah. So it's just, these were like body images that were put into my head before social media. However, you know, I've been able to address that. I've been able to kind of pinpoint, like, you know, like why I don't love myself physically like I should. But still, this was something that I've always wanted to do. So the things like with me, I had to learn to love myself, like mentally, emotionally, and everything. Like I'm at a good place in my life. I feel like if I would have gotten my body done like years ago when I just wasn't in a good place in my life, I would have gotten up out of the surgery table and still been miserable. I still, like, being hard on myself, like, and then because like, I want to do this, like, to be loved by someone else. With me, like, I wanted to do it for myself. And the reason why, like, I felt like I wanted to share my journey publicly is because, like, I feel like, again, I have my personal reasons as to why I got my body done, but I know a lot of girls in this day and age, they feel the need, like, the pressure to have, like, this perfect ideal body type. And, like, because of social media, unfortunately. So, like, girls, a lot of girls are, like, booking these surgeries or these surgeons, even doing their research, and they think all they have to do is get on the table. When they get off the table, and that's it. They want it done, and that's it. But it's so much more than that. The mental process you have to go through when it comes to surgery, especially getting off the table, it's a whole other journey that people don't talk about. And what's crazy is that with me sharing my journey, I had so many girls that were just like, yo, like, I wish I saw your story before I got my surgery, or I rescheduled my surgery after seeing your story. I realized I wasn't worried. I wasn't ready for this. Like, so many people reached out to me like crazy, and just like, because again, it's a whole mental mindset. Like, I was really telling myself body healing affirmations before I even got on the surgery table. Like, my body's a temple. My body's a warrior. I will get through this. My body's healing every single day. My body will get through this. Like, it is going to hurt temporarily, but I will get through this. All this feeling right now is temporary. My body's healing. My body is healing. My body is healing. Right. So it's like, because when you get up from the surgery, like, it's, again, like, people don't talk about this, the journey post-op. You have to, like, you have to be on top of, like, make sure you're getting your lymphatic massages. If you don't get that, right, you have the chances of probably, fibrosis, of getting blood clots. Like, the thing is,
there's work after, like there's work after it. I think that's with anything, but there's definitely work after it. Yeah. Right, but I love how, and it's crazy because, like, your journey is unique to you. I think about how I've also done a weight change, but mine was different in that I pursued a fitness journey. But you talk about the mental, like, I think, like, to that point, many a times we think if we just change physical and superficial and, like, tangible things, that's it. It's like, no, with any change, with any evolution, it needs to be mental and emotional change. I think, like, even for fitness, it took discipline. To your point, even like with your post-op, it's discipline, it's consistency, it's proper planning, it's all these things. But also, like, I was just telling a friend, like, even for me, I'm learning to embrace my feeling pretty. People have no idea, for the longest time, because of my size, not only was I thick, I was tall. So I have always been insecure about, since from when I was in elementary school, being taller than the other boys, I've always been insecure about my weight and my size. And so I've even undergone a mental journey of finding me attractive, of not trying to have the same body as somebody else, and embracing my own journey, and how because even in the gym, we're comparing ourselves. I'm like, okay, well, so-and-so's losing weight faster than me. So-and-so she got her butt. Where's my butt going? Why my thing not thinking? Like, it's just like, it's a constant, like, as things are happening, you have to also adjust mentally too. And I love how, again, no matter the journeys, you're making decisions that's best for you and being okay with them. I think that's so important with purpose. Oh man, like, I know we can talk about we can go a whole lot of different ways with this. You know how I told you, once these combos get started, we literally can go wherever.
That's why I listen to an 8-hour series.
Okay, period. Yes, but you know what too? I do want to encourage folks, because you're, like you've said several times, you're very transparent about your journey. Yeah, you have been. I know you will continue to be in this. And so I definitely want to encourage folks to stay connected with you and to follow you. But for those who are experiencing you for the first time and who may not hear from you for a while, what's the one thing you want to leave folks with? Like, we call it a pearl, Auntie Pearl. Like, what's the one pearl of wisdom that you feel like, of all this, and talking about authenticity and vulnerability and embracing your journey to purpose, what's your one thing?
This auntie is going to tell you to keep pushing forward always.
Period. Okay. Period. You know, and that's true. I think, and even to your point, there are so many things beyond our control that we stress out about. That's where God comes in. That's where faith comes in. Like, all you can do is your part, which is getting to know you, using your story to change your narrative, to change the narrative for your family, to change the narrative for somebody else, and this trust that God is working Delilah's a living testament. I'm a living testament. Now y'all seeing it ain't just me. Like, it's really this thing of the more you get to know you, the more you get to know him, it'll open up doors that were designed for you to walk through. To where it amazes, it surprises, it amazes you, right? Delilah, you like, wait, for me?
Girl, you see me with the Delilah tears all the time. I be crying all the damn time.
Yeah, okay, it's like, me? And that's the beauty of it. And so, sis, you know, I as always, like, much love. I appreciate you for being here. Before we go, I always have to ask, because our listeners love podcasts, obviously. They love to listen to stuff. And we talk about how important intake is, especially on this authentic, vulnerable journey. What's the one thing that you're listening to or that you would suggest that people listen to get more into this mindset?
I have a manifestation playlist on Spotify. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, I am Delilah D. I can share the link with you. It's something I start my day with routinely. It's really a whole bunch of songs or just like, you know.
I love a playlist, sis.
Yeah.
I love me a good playlist. Go ahead. All right, y'all, I'm going to get it.
We manifest in abundance. We manifest in peace. We're manifesting every day.
I love it. I love it. Well, y'all stay tuned for that. I'm going to definitely make sure that we share that with y'all. But, hey, Delilah, always love, man. I'm so proud of you and all that you're doing, all that God is doing in your life. Okay, don't forget about us when you blow up, sis. Okay, when you go to the next level, if you drive past me, sis, I'm gonna pull up in your DMs like, what's up?
I'm driving. What you mean?
At least beep at me, sis. At least beep at me. Okay, just beep it. Okay, something. For real, but no, as always, much love. I love y'all too, as always. See y'all next week. Call me back.
Like, what are these days I Switch.